left leg go to the left, let your right knee go towards the arch of the left foot. Until the outer line of your left leg comes down. And then if you do a heel, sort of a toe heel action in your right leg, you can actually walk the right leg away from you. If you're feeling a little pressure in your knee, just take more weight towards the right hip. It's going to lift slightly in that action. Push the hips slightly up. And this is like a contrary action. It's like you want to try and hold firm with your left arm and then start to pull the right knee away from center. So again, really activating this outer line here. Try and hold it like that for a moment and then just let it go. And then just start to see if you can understand what the action is, what's being created by doing this. That was already deep enough as it was. We're going to do the same thing again, but if you weren't feeling too much, like some of you were, then we're going to go a little bit deeper, which is now towards half lotus. I'm going to take the outer edge of the foot right to the upper left thigh. Hold your left hand, right foot as you lie back, and then start to hold the right foot in position with your left hand and start to pull the right knee away from center. So again, you feel an activation of the outer hip, a lengthening along both those tendon lines that I talked about. So as we started to go deeper, and then I went back into outer hip and outer thigh stretches, because if you're having difficulty getting your foot onto the top of the outer thigh, that action is all about outer rotation. Right? So getting the foot on top of the outer thigh, this means that this has to release and rotate forward. So if this is the issue, you're trying to take your foot up and you can't get it there, then that's when you need to work a lot on this outer, deeper outer hip stretches. But once you get the foot in position, then the work changes. And now we go back to lengthening the inner line of the leg. Wrapping the toes around the finger bone. I'm going to show you an adjustment on somebody so you can understand and see a little clearer. Also, it's sort of good to know when you work on this pose like this in this way, and I get a lot of people who do this, is that the actions are taking you deeper than they would be half lotus in an upright position. Right? And I think that that also helps in a way, because sometimes, because the floor is there, we feel that that's as far as we're going to go, and we don't do any of the work that would actually take us further. Which is the work that we want to do to be able to get the inner line of the leg to open more. Right? So this needs more opening here than it does here. You guys see that? And also the fact that once you make the bottom go deeper, then you work harder to get there. And so the work that we're trying to create anyway has to go deeper. The groin has to open more, the outer line of the leg has to open more, and the top of the thigh. Now this is where the actions of these two tendons start to become even more prevalent, as you'll feel the limitation along those lines, upper thigh and groin. And eventually we want to drop them down towards the floor. How's the legs? We're working from the upper hip, and you were sort of sensing this, Gerald. It's like when the muscle grips the bone, you'll feel it lift slightly. You'll feel it start to draw out of the socket, and then it's like it wants to rotate it slightly down towards the inner knee in that direction. That's sort of what I feel once you engage all these actions, that's the pathway that it wants to take. So that's working from one side towards the knee joint. Right? So keep in mind that it's a joint, it's an intersection. Now we have to go back to the outer edge of the foot, and now we're working from this side, strengthening the outer ankle, strengthening the outer knee, to try and get the energy to balance at the knee. So we've sort of defined these two areas of work. And so the difficulty is going to come from either one side or the other. Either we're not doing any work here, which is going to be up, but usually when I see this position with the ankle collapsed, I know that three things are actually happening. The outer ankle is stretching too much, the outer knee is stretching too much, and the inner knee is collapsing. Right? So that's why we look a lot at the foot. So between the actions of the outer hip of the foot, it's like we're trying to direct the pressure towards the knee without compromising the joint. So it's a balance of creating those two pieces to take the pressure from the knee. Okay, so there's a few things that I need to qualify this with. If you've been doing practice for a while and gradually over time your knee's becoming more and more aggravated, you'll reach a sort of a crisis point where really nothing that is said or done will make pain, because the knee is so inflamed by that point. It's like, forget it. Ice it, take a week off, take 2 weeks off, whatever, get it settled down, and then we can start to talk about right action. Okay? So that's something that it's important to understand, because sometimes, I'm working with a kind of a rather severe injury, and it's just not going to change by, just do this. There you go, perfect. It's going to be a process. So that's also, hopefully I can save you from that process. So least of all, the actions that are being engaged in the process of lifting my leg up and bringing my ankle in, can you tell me there's two areas that are sort of being activated? The point I'm sort of trying to make is we're bringing our foot into position. We start by activating the inner line of the leg, right? And we're also bending the knee, which is the work of the hamstring. Okay, so these two areas have been activated. When I'm in this position in the pose, I don't want them anymore. So one of the things to check for is to see if the hamstrings are engaged in this process, because they don't need to be. And then it's a conscious action, in a sense, to relax them, and also to create length on the inner line of the leg. Because the leg is up, the knee is folded, so I'm done. Okay, you guys can help me. So in other words, if you find that you're still in, this is the other thing, when you're already experiencing some pain, your body always tends to tense around the pain. And so sometimes the tension is up here. But you want to be able to eventually get the right muscles to work and the right ones to stop. It's the hamstrings that are working up and one of the knees. The outer hip, now eventually once the knee's coming down, you don't need to work this anymore either. It's just available if you're here. And the outer ankle is to create stability so that the ankle doesn't collapse and the knees collapse. It's not, I have to be very conscious of my work and my legs.
Getting into it, or like journey?
Yeah, the whole time. And then gradually, once out of being very conscious and very focused and really stable in the right place, I can start to let things go. Right? So, but it's always potentially an issue. I mean, it's hard for me to go back and work at this for so long now. But if I was to go back, I'd get right back in the same trouble I was in before. And if I try and rush into something too quickly, I'm trying to open properly, that becomes an issue, and it can all come back